Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you for joining us on this sunny Tuesday. Just a little bit of housekeeping before I introduce our very lovely guest today. You are all in listen-only mode. However, in your toolbox, you have a questions icon where you can type in questions. So if you do have any questions whatsoever for myself or our special guest, then feel free to type it in there. Of course, this webinar will be recorded and available on the AFTA website from later this afternoon for your viewing pleasure at any time. So without further ado, I'm really pleased to introduce Emily McDonald, who is the Manager for Australia and New Zealand for Dubai, and she's going to give us an update on the destination. So welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thanks very much for taking the time to join this webinar. So my name is Emily. I'm looking after the Australian and New Zealand markets at Dubai Tourism. I recently joined just about 6 months ago. So today I'll be taking you through some exciting new developments that have opened in Dubai over the last couple of years, and I'll give you a sneak peek at what's to come. So with Dubai gearing up towards the World Expo in 2020, we have a lot of new developments in the works. And I'm also here to answer any questions that you might have about the city or any questions that perhaps your clients often ask you about Dubai. So I've actually lived in Dubai now for over 3 years. I'm just visiting Australia for a couple of weeks at the moment, but yeah, I made the big move over from Melbourne to Dubai, and I love it. Something that I really love about the city is that there's always something new to do and explore. And when I come back to Australia though, I do get asked a lot of questions, particularly about those misconceptions that people have about Dubai. So people often ask me things like, is it tough being a woman living in Dubai? What are you allowed to wear? Do you have to cover up? And I often tell them that I just wear exactly the same thing as I would in Australia, really. It's only really in the older parts of town or in the Dubai malls where there's a larger population of people from the Middle East, where I'm just a bit more conscious to not wear anything too revealing, just out of respect for their culture, really. Also in the malls and the restaurants in Dubai, it can get a little bit chilly with all the air conditioning, so it's always a good idea to carry a pashmina in those places. And I'm also asked a little bit about what it's like during Ramadan in Dubai, and people asking, if I travel to Dubai during Ramadan, what's that like? Should I reconsider coming to Dubai? And like, definitely not. I actually really enjoy being in Dubai during Ramadan. The restaurants and the hotels have these amazing iftar events. So iftar is, if you don't know, it's the first meal that Muslims have after sunset during Ramadan, and that's to break their fast. And so these beautiful meals for iftar are a great way to socialize with friends and family. You can get to really appreciate the local culture and the tradition of Dubai. So that's something that I really enjoy. And actually also over the last few years, Ramadan in Dubai has actually it's become a lot more relaxed because they know that there's so many visitors in the city. So in terms of the guidelines around eating and drinking during the day, you'll still find that many places are open. In the hotels, they just put up a curtain or a screen in front of those cafes and restaurants during the day. Even actually alcohol can sometimes be served during Ramadan. So it just depends on the hotels, and you won't find that advertised a lot over their websites or social media, but it is becoming a lot more relaxed during Ramadan. So it's good for visitors to know that their holiday won't be too restricted if they are traveling during that time. There's even actually been some brunches during Ramadan. So yeah, if you don't know about the amazing Dubai brunches, they're not like the Australian brunch. They're more of a lunch from about 1 till 4 in the afternoon. There's amazing buffets and food and free-flowing drinks and even like live entertainment. So they're a lot of fun too. So on this slide, I've set out the different areas that I'll be covering in the webinar. But before I get started, I wanted to talk to you about what's new, including some very cool hotels that we have. I thought I'd just briefly mention a couple of things about Dubai's past. So yeah, before we launch into everything, I thought for the benefit of those who don't know too much about the city, that would just touch on Dubai's past. So, the United Arab Emirates was founded in 1971, and Dubai is one of the 7 emirates that make up the UAE. So it's a bit like how Australia is made up of 6 states and 2 territories. So in this photo here, you'll see that the second man from the left, that's Sheikh Zayed. And he was the UAE's first president and is known as the father of the nation for his role in forming the country. And although it was very much all about men back then, today, actually almost 30% of the UAE's cabinet ministers are women. So there's 9 altogether, 9 women, more than the White House actually. So that we even have a minister for artificial intelligence. So that's something a bit interesting. Not many countries have that. You know, yeah, most ministers are in their 30s. It's very, they're quite young. So that's just a little bit about how the UAE started. So in 1979, Dubai got its first high-rise tower. This is the World Trade Center in this photo, and I really love this photo because it shows just how far Dubai has come in what is really only a very short period of time. So that building there is still there today. The Dubai World Trade Center, though, is now a sprawling exhibition and event space. There's comedians, lots of international performers coming to Dubai to perform at this World Trade Center. So very different than what you see in the photo there. So the area to the top left of this photo, just above that big roundabout, is now Zabil Park, the largest park in Dubai. And across the road from the World Trade Center, you've now got the H Hotel, the Sheraton Grand Hotel, the Fairmont Dubai, Conrad Dubai. So it's really developed so much in such a short period of time. So now 20 years later, in 1999, the iconic Burj Al Arab opened. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this iconic hotel. This time Dubai had 378 hotels and approximately 3 million visitors annually visiting Dubai. So moving then on, in 2008, the famous Atlantis The Palm opened on the Palm Jumeirah, and the Dubai Mall, one of the world's largest shopping malls, also opened. Then in 2010, the Burj Khalifa opened. And by now, Dubai had 573 hotels and 5.3 million visitors annually. And on the next slide, we have the QE2 that's open. So the majestic QE2 that I'm sure you're quite familiar with is now a permanent floating hotel. And you can visit this iconic cruise ship to enjoy the restaurants or stay overnight on the QE2. Even actually just last week, a beautiful theatre opened on the QE2. So we're expecting some great performances and shows throughout the year that people on the QE2 can enjoy. So now let's move on to what's new and what's coming up in Dubai. So to start with, I wanted to tell you about some great new neighbourhoods that have opened. Now, many people think of Dubai as a bucket list destination. They just want to tick it off the list and they say they've been there and they've done that. But it's certainly, you know, it is a bucket list destination, but you need to visit more than once. It's constantly changing, and it really is a city that's worthy of multiple visits and longer stays because it's a new Dubai every time you visit. So this is a new development called La Mer. It's a beachfront development with retail, dining, entertainment. It's actually got its own water park called Laguna Water Park and an inflatable children's playground and some really funky street art as well. And then moving on to Al Seef, which is just by the creek. It's a new development, again with lots of beautiful cafes, restaurants, and retail stores there. It opened early this year, and it's split into 2 sections. We've got the heritage area at one end with the beautiful old Arabian architecture, and then down the other end is the more modern style architecture, and this is where Jumeirah has actually opened up a few new hotels. I'll speak about some of them later. One of them is called Al Seef, and it's Al Seef Hotels, and it's right in the Heritage District, and then Zabeel House and Zabeel House Mini in the more modern area. Now this is Blue Waters Island, and it's opening next month actually. So this is just off the shore of the Dubai Marina, and it will be home to the world's largest observation wheel called Ein Dubai. And some very exciting news, we actually have Caesars Palace opening. So there'll be Caesars Palace, Blue Waters Hotel, and Caesars Resort. So Caesars Palace, Blue Waters, Dubai will have 194 rooms and 80 hotel apartments. And the second hotel, the Caesars Resort, it will have 301 rooms. There'll also be a beautiful beach club called Cove Beach. There'll be a Madame Tussauds opening on the island. So it's going to be very exciting. There's going to be lots to see and do on this beautiful island. And Caesars Palace is opening for bookings, I believe, from the 15th of November, so not far away. So it's really exciting to have such an iconic brand of hotel joining Dubai. Another really big new development is Dubai Creek Harbour. Now this will be home to Dubai Creek Tower, which will become the tallest tower in the world. So it will overtake the amazing Burj Khalifa. So we're expecting the tower to be finished in 2020, but the harbour development itself is well underway, and there'll be people living there from next year onwards. So this is just on the Dubai Creek and not far from Festival City, if you're familiar with that area of Dubai. So moving on to some hotels and resorts. Now, Dubai is more than just the luxury resorts that you're all very familiar with, because we've actually got so many exciting new 3- and 4-star openings that it's making Dubai really more accessible to all budgets, you know, from families, people wanting to stop over and not spend a fortune. There's so many options now that, yeah, Dubai is really for everyone. When it comes to our 5-star openings, we've recently had the Renaissance Downtown Hotel open. We've got Rixos Premium Dubai in JBR, which also has a beautiful beach club there that I've been to a few times, and a great a nightclub called Lock, Stock and Barrel with rock music, live bands. That one's a lot of fun too. We've also got the Hub Tours City. Now this actually used to be operated by Marriott, so you may have been more familiar when this was the Westin, the W Hotel and St. Regis. Hilton have recently now taken over managing the 3 properties in Hub Tour City. So it's Hilton, Hub Tour Palace and V Hotel, which is home to the Le Pearl show. So a few changes there, but the same beautiful hotels right there on the Dubai Canal. Now I wanted to just talk about some beautiful boutique 3- and 4-star hotels. And like I said, these is making Dubai much more accessible to people that are looking to do maybe Dubai on a bit more of a budget, but still stay in some beautiful properties. So Zabeel House by Jumeirah in Al Seef is the 4-star hotel, but it's really, you know, it's punching way above its weight there. It's a really great property. I've stayed there myself for a few nights, and it's great being right by the creek there to go walk along the boardwalk and really kind of immerse yourself in the old Dubai. And then just next door is the Zabeel House Mini, which is really fun and playful type of hotel, and great for families and those looking to stay on more of a budget. Then a loft. So there's a loft on Palm Jumeirah that's recently opened. There's also a loft closer to the creek, which has its own licensed rooftop cinema. So some really great new 3- and 4-star hotels that have opened up, and I think it's really important to remember these hotels when you're looking for accommodation for your clients, because there is that perception that they need to, you know, spend a lot on the 5-star hotels, but these are some really great options and really beautiful hotels too. Rove, if you're familiar with the Rove hotels in Dubai, you'll know that there's a few of them all in some really great locations around Dubai, whether it's the marina or the city centre, downtown, all closer to the creek. Again, they're that more kind of fun and playful hotel brand, really affordable. They're 3-star. I know a lot of Australians love to be able to throw in a load of washing if they've been travelling throughout Europe for a month and they're doing a stopover in Dubai on the way home. There's things like, the laundry that they can access there, and the one in the Rove in downtown has a licensed cinema as well. And they're just a fun property, so they're another great one to consider. And then Form Hotel in Dubai is a new one that's recently opened. It's easily accessible from the airport by the metro, and it's a member of the Designs Hotels group. So really interesting architecture and interior design there, quite different to your regular hotel. So another one to check out. And as I mentioned, the Al Seef Hotel that I mentioned earlier, right by the creek there, and it's more of that traditional architecture and interior design to get more of a feel for the old Dubai, not all about the glitz and the glamour. And then these amazing hotels are coming very soon. So I mentioned Caesar's Palace earlier, coming in Q4 of this year, so actually the next few weeks really. The Royal Atlantis, so this is Q4 for next year. Very excited about this one. As you can see in this picture at the top, the Royal Atlantis will be more than twice the size of Atlantis de Palm. So this picture there is to scale. It's going to have its own sort of fountain and fire show out the front. It's about 70% hotel suites, and then 30% will be actually residences. So there'll be people living there as well. And there'll be the Aquaventure water park in between the two properties that both can access. But Royal Atlantis is that real step above everything else in Dubai. It's just going to be pretty incredible, and home to lots of amazing restaurants as well. And then Mandarin Oriental, that's coming in Q1 next year. So another really iconic hotel brand that is just known for being just stunning, beautiful hotels. So we're looking forward to that one coming to the Jumeirah Beach area. So families, I know that couples love to enjoy Dubai, but really families, there's a huge opportunity there for us to be promoting Dubai to families. There's just so much to offer. When it comes to activities for families, we have the amazing water parks, whether it's Atlantis, Aquaventure at Atlantis, Wild Wadi with the Jumeirah properties there. You've got Ski Dubai. There's actually the Laguna water park now open at La Mer, so even more water parks opening. As I mentioned, Ski Dubai, you've got the desert activities, the aquariums, they've got the Miracle Garden down there as well. So there is so many things to see and do with families. It's definitely something that we should be promoting Dubai as a family destination. And theme parks is the other one that's really taken off in the last couple of years. So Dubai Parks and Resorts, we have Motion Gate, Bollywood Parks, Legoland, and Legoland Water Park. And you might be familiar with some of the characters there. So, we've got Shrek and Hunger Games rides, Smurfs. It's really great for families, and they're all of these theme parks are in one destination. There's also the Lapita Hotel as part of that complex as well, so you can stay right amongst it all if theme parks are your thing. Then IMG Worlds of Adventure. This is the world's largest indoor theme park, and it's home to Marvel characters, Cartoon Network characters. The kids will recognise lots of the rides and the characters there at that theme park. And it's great that it's indoors. It means that, any time of the year, you can enjoy the IMG Worlds of Adventure. So now when it comes to a bit more of Dubai's culture, you can really enjoy exploring the neighbourhoods and museums of the Creek area in Dubai to learn more about the unique heritage and culture. There's so many little museums, art galleries. You you could spend a day just really immersing yourself in the culture there. We've had the Etihad Museum open as well, which is more down the Jumeirah side of town. So that's all about how the UAE was formed, and it's that top right image that you can see there, and it's a beautiful contemporary modern building, but all about the history of Dubai. And while you're down by the creek and visiting the galleries and the museums, you should definitely stop by the Sheikh Mohammed Centre for Cultural Understanding. So this is in an old house, around 200 years old. So it is an old house from Dubai that you can step inside, and their philosophy is open doors, open minds. So it's all about being able to ask anything that you like. They're open to any question. It can be something that you think might be a silly question, ask away. So they have Emirati hosts that would host your breakfast, lunch or dinner, and you can sit there and enjoy the traditional Arabic cuisine and learn about the culture of Dubai. So it's a really great thing to do, and it's sometimes, you know, when you're wandering this area, you might not see it. So it's a little hidden gem, that one, the Sheikh Mohammed Centre for Cultural Understanding. And nearby, we've also done some refurbishment of the Shindaga Museum in the Dubai Historic Village. So 150 houses in this area have been renovated, and it's, again, creating that little cultural hub. They're wanting to create the largest open museum in the world. So there'll actually be 23 little museums throughout this area to explore. And we have the new Dubai frame. So this is like a giant gold picture frame right in Dubai. You go up the side in a lift, and actually before you get in the lift, there's a little museum about old Dubai. So you start off with old Dubai and see some great pictures of what it used to look like. You head up in the lift, and at the top is an observation bridge where through one side you see old Dubai and the view of just how big that old Dubai is. I was quite surprised myself. And then through the other side, you see that glittering skyline of all the modern architecture that Dubai is so well known for. So it's that beautiful contrast of the old and the new. And then you head down in the lift, and there's an amazing, really kind of immersive 360 video experience that you can see what is to come in Dubai, with flying taxis going around, and those flying taxis are actually not too far away. They're coming quite soon. So all the amazing things that Dubai is working towards when it comes to innovation and technology. Actually, the observation bridge at the top there has a transparent floor. So when you walk across it, it starts disappearing beneath your feet, which is a little bit scary, but it's quite fun. So another one that the kids would love too. And then this amazing building is the Museum of the Future, and it's opening up towards the end of next year. I mean, the building itself is just incredible. When I drive past this every day to work, my mind is blown at just this building itself. It's just incredible. And it's going to be all about innovation, you know, whether it's robots or all those exciting things that Dubai is working on. And yeah, a museum of not of old things, but of new things. So that's another exciting development for next year. So I then just want to touch on the arts, and something that maybe people wouldn't necessarily think of when it comes to Dubai, but Dubai is really the region's home of the arts, whether it's art galleries, film festivals, theatre, music. I mean, it's something that I'm quite passionate about myself. So living in Dubai, it's so great that we're surrounded by all these beautiful cultural experiences. Something that opened in the last couple of years was Dubai Opera. So this is right in downtown, just by the fountain show that I'm sure many of you may have seen before. So Dubai Opera is home to so many performances every single night of the week almost. We've got Broadway musicals, international bands, comedians, ballets, operas, such a diverse range of shows, and really something that visitors should check out take a look at the website before they visit to see if there's something there that interests them, because it's a beautiful venue right in downtown and a great night out in Dubai. And then one of my favorites is Le Pearl. So this is a fantastic new show that's opened up. It's the region's first resident show, and it's in an aqua theatre. So this purpose-built theatre has a pool in the centre where you've got acrobats diving down from the ceiling. The floor actually rises and falls, creating these kind of floods of water, and it's just amazing. So that's another one that I think is really a must-do in Dubai, is to go to the Le Pearl show. It's kind of like Cirque du Soleil, I suppose, but I think it's actually a little bit better. So that's another one to check out. Now with adventure and outdoors. So we know that Dubai is one spectacular playground for thrill seekers and outdoor adventurers. Of course, there's the desert, there's skydiving, flyboarding, which is that image in the top right corner, which a lot of people in Dubai enjoy. There's lots of the water sports, whether it's stand-up paddleboarding, scuba diving. You can dive with sharks, which I recently did. So lots to do when it comes to outdoors and adventure. Now, this is a new attraction that has recently opened in Dubai. It's the new X-Line Dubai Marina, the world's longest urban zip line. So this is where you can zip down through the marina, past the skyscrapers, and get the thrill of flying through more modern Dubai. Dubai Marina is where I live, actually. So I've seen these zip liners zipping past, and something for the thrill seekers out there for sure. I haven't been game enough myself to give it a go. There's actually another zip line just out of Dubai in another emirate called Ras Al Khaimah, and that is the world's longest zip line. And that one, it goes through the mountains, so completely different to this urban zip line. But it's another thing you could do as a bit of a day trip if you want to see a bit more of nature. Head out there to Ras Al Khaimah and do the world's longest zip line. Now, we know that Dubai is very popular when it comes to the desert safaris. It's one of those bucket list items on the Dubai list. So something that people might not think of is the dune buggy experiences. So this is definitely one for the thrill seekers. You can jump in one of these four-wheel drive dune buggies and zip around at about 60 kilometers an hour over the dunes. And again, it's not one that I've done yet, but for those that are looking for a bit of a thrill, definitely check out the dune buggy experiences. And another one that people may not have thought about is glamping or camping in the desert, but these are pretty top-notch little tents there without actually having a bed inside. So it's a nice way to experience the desert. If dune bashing and dune buggies are not quite your thing, why not have a little romantic escape in the desert, see the stars, and just beautiful out there. And there's also the wildlife with the oryx and some of the wildlife animals that you can see out there in the desert too. So gastronomy and nightlife. Well, foodies are just going to love Dubai, and those that also like to experience the nightlife when they're visiting a city. We have so many DJs, bands, music festivals. The world's best DJs are always in Dubai. Every month you'll find someone visiting. And when it comes to music festivals as well, we've got the Jazz Festival, which had, this year I think we had John Legend visit, we've had Ricky Martin, Mariah Carey. So lots of big names that are always coming to Dubai. So that's another thing to consider when you're visiting, is to check out what's on when it comes to nightlife and foodies. So there's over 7,000 places to eat in Dubai. It's just incredible. And it ranges from food trucks, sort of your street food, and right up to your big celebrity chef restaurants. And a great way to experience more of the local cuisine and find those little hidden gems in Dubai would be to do one of the food tours. So there's plenty of these to do in Dubai, and I think that's a great way to find those little hidden gems. And you know, it's not all about just eating at the big hotels. There's lots of little places to find. So a food tour would be the perfect way to do that. And so this just shows you a little bit of the variety of dining options that we have in Dubai. So it ranges from Heston, which is he's opening up his restaurant at Royal Atlantis next year. Obviously, celebrity chefs like Jamie Oliver or Gordon Ramsay have restaurants. New York's Black Tap, which opens in Dubai and has those amazing freak shakes. We've got Sean Connolly has a beautiful restaurant above the Dubai Opera. There's the Last Exit Food Truck Park, where you've got a little hub full of food trucks. And Tom and Serge, so they're an Australian duo that have a great range of little cafes and restaurants throughout Dubai. So yeah, always you can still get your lovely Australian coffee in Dubai from these guys here. So just such a diverse range on offer. So foodies will be in heaven if they come to Dubai. And then we have shopping. So a lot of people think Dubai is all about the big malls and more the high-end fashion. And certainly, yes, we do have the world's biggest malls and every brand under the sun in those malls. But there's actually so much more on offer when it comes to shopping in Dubai. A recent development is actually City Walk, which is like an outdoor-indoor shopping district. There's a few of these throughout Dubai actually, so it's great because when the weather is a little bit warmer, you can go indoors there. But you know, I actually always love shopping outside and not always shopping in a mall. So it's good to get that mix of both. And City Walk here has a great sound and light show on in the evenings as well. So yeah, that's the outdoor shopping districts. There's also craft markets, food markets, Christmas markets. So it's really just got everything. Yeah, I also love markets as well. Especially when the weather is nice, just to take a stroll and find some homemade gifts. There's lots of local Dubai suppliers making some great things for these markets. So that's another thing that I love to do as well. And something I often get asked is, you know, is Dubai shopping actually really expensive? And there's actually some great ways to find some bargains in Dubai, and that's the Dubai Shopping Festival, which happens around the same time as our Boxing Day sales, I guess. So it starts around Boxing Day and runs throughout January. And then the Dubai Summer Surprises, which happens around June, July, and also like 6 weeks of sales in every store throughout Dubai. So those are some times of year where you can get some good bargains. And yeah, I love heading out shopping during those times. So yeah, definitely it's not all about the high-end shopping all the time, and you can certainly find some affordable shopping as well. So before I end our webinar, I just wanted to touch on Dubai Expert. Some of you might be familiar with Dubai Expert and have maybe had a go at completing the course before. We've been doing some development on this year to reduce the download speed, because we did have some feedback that it was a little bit tricky to download, particularly on some people's Wi-Fi networks. So we have made it much quicker to download. And the good news is we're launching a mobile app for Dubai Expert. So that is coming soon. So we'll definitely be in touch when that is all ready to go. We're just doing the final testing on that now, but it is not too far away. So that means you can complete the Dubai Expert course on the go, on your mobile phone or your iPad. And yeah, it's a great course because we've made it into a little game, and it's quite detailed, so it's not as easy as just watching a video and then you're instantly a Dubai expert. You do need to go through the different modules where you need to choose the itinerary for different demographics and different clients. So you need to choose where in Dubai they should stay based on their interests and what they want to do. So I definitely recommend getting onto the Dubai Expert game. And if you just jump on, you can just Google Dubai Expert. It's probably the easiest way to find it. Otherwise, it's game.dubaiexpert.ae. So we'll also make sure that the details for Dubai Expert are up on the AFTA website for you to check out too. So that brings us to the end. But if we have any questions, I'll definitely be glad to answer them.
Thanks, Emily. I thought that was fantastic, and it certainly whet my appetite to go back to Dubai. You know, I've been jotting down notes of definite must-do things that I personally would enjoy. So, and I'm thinking next time I go to Europe, I'm definitely going to have to come back via Dubai to pick up those summer surprises.
Yeah.
Shopping
festivals, yeah, for sure.
So we'll just give everybody a moment. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to type it into the toolbox and we'll have Emily answer it. If not, you can certainly ask questions at other times by emailing and contacting us. And if it's all right with Emily, we might put some contact details on the site.
Sure.
Anyone can ask questions. And yes, definitely download the Dubai Expert program. I saw it when it was first launched, and the gamification is fantastic, and it looks like so much fun. So when it will be available on the mobile,
yeah,
just amazing. You can practice on your way to and from work.
Yeah.
All right, well, we don't have any questions, which means you've done an exceptional job of explaining the destination. So I'd like to thank everybody very much for joining us today. The webinar will be posted online, and we'll put some, someone just asked where it'll be available. It'll be available on the AFTA website under the events navigation tab, and we'll put that link to the Dubai Expert program so people can download it, and we'll put up some details so if you've got any more questions about the destination, you can ask away. So thank you very much for joining us all today.
Thank you.